We've been following a serious situation that has unfolded in the courts recently, involving some big names, a luxury vehicle, and a long-running legal battle. This case centers around a Rolls Royce, specifically a 2019 Rolls Royce Cullinan, and the drama that's ensued due to an alleged violation of a leasing contract. This story involves accusations of fraud, improper leasing, and the alleged theft of a vehicle, all coming to light after months of back and forth in court. Now, what really kicked this off was a judgment that was entered into the case recently. Some of you might already know the basics, but there are still a lot of questions that remain. One of the biggest questions is the amount the defendants will eventually have to pay. The court has decided that they were in the wrong, but it will still take a little time to determine exactly how much money they owe. The judgment doesn't include the amount just yet. That's something that will be sorted out when they go back to court to finalize the exact numbers. In the earlier stages of this case, it seemed like there was a lot of back and forth. There were talks of a jury trial, and people weren't sure how long it would take. Some thought it would go on for months, if not longer. But things took a turn recently when it was revealed that the judge had already made a decision. The case had been resolved, and it was clear that the car had been improperly leased, and the defendants had broken the terms of the lease. This has led to a ruling in favor of the car's owner. To recap the situation, we need to go back to the beginning and understand what started all of this. The vehicle in question, a 2019 Rolls Royce Cullinan, was part of a lease agreement between a luxury car leasing company and the defendants. The car was supposed to be leased under strict terms, including an agreement not to sublease or rent it to anyone else. However, the defendants, which include Carlton L. Curry and Kurt Andrew King, didn't follow these rules. They leased the car to a third party, a woman named Janiqua Mason, without the car owner's permission. This violation was the first major issue that triggered the legal action. The problem didn't end there. After the car was rented out, it went missing. The defendants claimed the car had been stolen, but the situation was more complicated than that. What raised suspicions was the fact that the car was rented out to Mason, who later reported that the keys had gone missing after she got sloppy drunk. This is where things really started to unravel. The owner of the car wasn't convinced by the story and began legal proceedings. Fast forward a few months, and we are now at the point where the court has granted a judgment in favor of the car's owner. The judgment includes finding the defendants responsible for breaching the lease agreement and for the loss of the car. The court ruled that they had violated the lease by renting the car to someone else without permission and that they had failed to return the vehicle. What makes this case even more complicated is the involvement of Kurt King, who is known to many through his relationship with the reality TV star Quad from the show Married to Medicine. While Quad's name wasn't directly mentioned in the court documents, King's involvement raised more questions about his role in the whole situation. It seems that his business, Atlanta Exotic and Luxury Car Rentals, played a key part in Chinese renting the car to Mason. The car's owner didn't give permission for this sublease, and that breach of contract became a central issue in the legal proceedings. As we look further into the documents, it's clear that the defendants didn't take the situation seriously. Mason, for example, didn't even show up to court when she was asked to respond to the claims against her. She failed to show up when the car's owner made requests for her to admit or deny certain facts. In legal terms, when you don't respond to requests like this, it's essentially considered an admission of guilt. That's one of the key reasons why the judge ruled in favor of the car's owner. In addition to Mason's lack of response, King also tried to argue that he shouldn't be held responsible. However, the judge wasn't convinced by this defense. He made it clear that King, along with the other defendants, was liable for the actions that led to the car being lost. The judge noted that the lease agreement was clear. The car was not to be rented or leased to anyone else, and it certainly wasn't to be subleased to a third party without the car owner's permission. The fact that the defendants violated these terms meant that they were responsible for the loss of the car. The next phase of the legal process will focus on determining how much the defendants owe. Although the judgment has been entered, the exact amount they'll have to pay is still up for debate. It's likely that the court will take into account the total value of the car, the unpaid lease payments, and any additional damages that were caused by the breach of contract. The plaintiff is also seeking punitive damages, which could significantly increase the total amount owed. These damages are intended to punish the defendants for their actions and to deter them from doing something similar in the future. Now, let's take a moment to understand why this case is so important. It's not just about a stolen car or a breach of contract. This case raises serious questions about accountability in business dealings. The defendants were given clear terms and conditions in the lease agreement, and they knowingly violated those terms. When you sign a contract, you're agreeing to follow those rules, and there are consequences if you don't. But beyond the legal implications, this case also shines a light on the role of media and public perception. When you have people like Kurt King involved, who is known through his relationship with a reality TV star, it raises the stakes in terms of public interest. While King's business dealings may have been overlooked by some, the involvement of a public figure like Quad only adds fuel to the fire. The case has garnered a lot of attention, and people are watching closely to see what happens next. It's clear that the actions of the defendants have caused harm to the car's owner, not just financially, but also in terms of the time and effort spent dealing with this situation. The car has not been recovered, and the defendants' failure to cooperate with the insurance company has only added to the frustration. As the case continues to unfold, it will be interesting to see how the defendants respond and whether they will face any criminal charges in addition to the civil ones. In the coming weeks, we'll likely see more developments in this case. The next court hearing will focus on determining the final amount owed, and the defendants will have another chance to present their side of the story. However, based on the evidence already presented, it seems clear that the defendants will be held accountable for their actions. In conclusion, this case serves as a reminder of the importance of following the terms of any contract. When you agree to something, you have to take responsibility for it, and that means honoring the terms of the agreement. For the defendants, this case has been a wake-up call, and the legal consequences are far from over. Whether they ultimately settle or continue to fight in court, one thing is certain: this case will have long-lasting implications for everyone involved.